video got much more exciting than I thought it would. Hello, and welcome to my channel. I'm Mandy Grace, author of 10 young adult novels so far. It is the 1-year anniversary of Return to Grace, which is the final book in my Robin Hood. It is the 1-year anniversary of Return to Grace, the final installment in my Robin Hood saga. Okay, I'm being very goofy today, but yes, it is the 1-year anniversary of both of these books. Technically, when this video goes live, it will be a year and 2 days. But right now, it is the 1-year anniversary of both of these books. This one is mine, this one is obviously not mine. But they were published on the exact same day with the exact same title. I found this Return to Grace on release day of this Return to Grace. I thought it was the funniest thing. I bought it. I read it. They sit together on my shelf. They're twin sisters. They go everywhere together. It's just a thing. I was trying to figure out a way to celebrate this release, not this one. Ugh, I always forget to turn on the lights. Should I start over? I'm not starting over. So, I thought I would talk about Return to Grace today just a bit. Camera died, but I'm back. I only have the one battery since I bought the new camera. My camera that broke, I had 3 batteries, so when it died I could immediately switch it out and get back to filming. It's not the case with the new camera, so I had to wait an hour, and here we are. I've forgotten where I was. Doesn't matter. I'm going to talk about Return to Grace, because this is the, Return to Grace celebration video? Wait a second. Oh, now we're throwing things off the Christmas tree. It's a snowman's face. Return to Grace. Return to Grace is actually a sequel in my Return to Sherwood Robin Hood series, which in turn is the sequel to my OG Robin Hood series, which I started when I was 17. So, a little bit of explanation as to oh my. We're not explaining. We are getting a broom and cleaning up some glass. So the candle made from the blood, sweat, and tears of successfully finished novels. My favorite candle from Bethany Artesana just leapt off of the shelf and is now just dead on the floor. So I'm going to sweep this up and then we will talk about Return to Sherwood, Return to Grace, why I decided to write them. While we were at it, we picked up some hair and a leaf. But there you go. We've got one lid still in usable condition, one half hanging out over here, lots of shards, and then the wax. It's lovely. So, Robin Hood. Here's what happened. I have to go all the way back to the beginning to explain why I decided to write Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace. I wrote Lucy's Legend when I was 17 years old. It took me a month to write it. Hold that thought. I can go get the actual original copy. Lucy's Tale, as it was called. There are so many legends, myths, and tales surrounding Robin Hood, I don't even know where to begin. I will just tell the truth as I know it. But how do I know the truth, the reader asks? Because I was there. It was many years ago, but my memory serves me well. Who could ever forget Robin? Yeah, so the original version was in letter form, basically. Lucy was just explaining her life story, which is not exactly how it is now. But there you go. Basically, I wrote a Robin Hood story, and then I wrote the exact same story, just from someone else's perspective, without, altering the scenes to reflect a different person's worldview. No, it was the same story. Just, it's from someone else's perspective. And then the same thing again, just someone else. And then, the same thing again, just with someone else. And then the thing again, but with someone else. Actually, this one's not as bad. This one gets less self-hate from the author. This one is, you know, the original story, and it's okay. This one I revamped 5 years after I wrote it, before I published it, and I don't hate it. These three in the middle are horrifyingly embarrassing because, A, same story, different person telling it, did not alter things to reflect that necessarily, and also these three are basically life memoirs of every single thing that ever happened to these people from the day they were born until the day they die, and not necessarily anything that reflects the story that I was telling of Robin Hood. Nothing that relates, nothing that you know, made them into who they were and why they acted the way they did. Like, no. Nope, it was just random events in their life from birth until death, basically. It's not good. So anyway, I love this story, and I love these characters, and I love the world that I created here. It's loosely based off of, like, historical surroundings and actual places, but, like, not really. My original intent after Lucy's Legend was to do everyone in the gang. I only did 5. Mainly because I realized over the course of however many years it took me to do this that I was kind of beating a dead horse, and also I had grown enough as an author that I could tell that these 3 in particular were no good. No good. I mean, there's some nuggets in there. There's some, but like, did not execute. So, yeah. I realized that this was not working, and also I was no longer happy with it. But I still desperately loved the characters in the world that I had created, and I wanted to write more about them. So, I made a a family tree, essentially, that started with Robin Hood and went all the way down into the present. I made plans to basically write historical fiction through the ages, and just like, I would know that they were related to Robin Hood. And then while looking at that, I realized that the first historical, like, actual event that happened that would be interesting to my characters was that John Lackland, who is the quote-unquote evil Prince John in this story, he actually becomes the King of England, historically speaking. And I thought that would be a big deal to my Robin Hood crew. So that is how I decided to write Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace. After being pardoned by King Richard the Lionheart upon his return for the Third Crusade, Robin Hood and his gang of outlaws lived in peace. After Richard's death, however, John Lackland is crowned the King of England. As John battles his nephew Arthur for the throne of England, he is distracted by one singular passion, destroying the outlaw who caused him so much trouble in the past. Yada yada, yada yada. Basically, this is the story of John trying to kill Robin Hood and his crew, and they run around their shenanigans. It's a lot of fun. This also feels like the right video to make an announcement. So, I'm unpublishing these books. Gasp. No, what's actually happening is that I stopped publishing under Amanda Grace, which you'll notice is the name on these books. Amanda's actually my name. And I started publishing under Amanda Grace for a variety of reasons. One being, if you search for Amanda Grace, there's like a million Amanda Grace authors. You will not find me. And you can find Mandy Grace much easier. Also, Mandy is a name that I have answered to for most of my life, so it was an easy switch for me to make. Yada yada. Anyway, I switched to Mandy Grace, which is what is on the Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace. But because it's a sequel to this series, people get confused about, like, this Robin Hood series and this Robin Hood series. Do they go together, and who is Amanda, and, like, what's happening? Also, all of my branding has switched over to Mandy because I intend to publish under Mandy Grace for the rest of forever. So, what I am going to do is I'm going to bring my original Robin Hood series under the Mandy Grace pseudonym, essentially. But while I am doing that, I'm also going to do some major rewriting so that I'm not embarrassed by these 3 books in particular. And then I'm also going to change all of this, because as you'll notice, none of these covers would suggest that these books belong together, and none of the titles would suggest that these books belong together. Like Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace, which have titles that say, hey, we're a series, and which have covers that say, hey, we're a series. What I plan to do is rewrite these, get Lynn to make some gorgeous covers for me, and then probably retitle some of them. I don't know yet what that's going to look like, but probably. And then I'm going to use the re-release of the original Robin Hood series under Mandi Grace as my like beta run to figure out all of the things that I've been learning from Sarah Cannon in the Publish and Thrive course that I took over the past year. Yes, it was a 5-week course. Yes, it took me from February to December to finish it, but it's fine. Don't judge me. Point being, I'm going to take everything I learned from Sarah Cannon and use it as I republish each of these books. And hopefully by the time I get to the 5th one, I'll know what I'm doing, so that when I publish my King Arthur fantasy story, I'll know what to do. And I'll be a pro, and it'll be awesome. So, they're still available for now. I'll let you know when they're not. And then I'll let you know when they are again. But like, spruced up. Anyway, when I do the rewrites and everything, I'm also going to be doing my dystopian trilogy, which is also under Mandi Grace, and I want to bring it under Mandi Grace, so while I'm doing it, I'm gonna, you know, spruce it up a little. I really love both my dystopian trilogy and my original Robin Hood series. Like, I love the story, I love the characters, I don't like the way that I executed it, and a lot of that is just because I was 17 when I started this. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was making it up as I went along. So like publishing-wise, I didn't know what I was doing before I published Lucy's Legend. I just jumped in and did it. And then also writing-wise, I wasn't great, okay? Lucy's Legend was the second book, like, complete story that I ever wrote. Ever. It's not pretty. And like, I learned a lot. I learned so much writing each of those books. All 5 of them grew me in different areas and showed me different weaknesses and strengths and things I could work on. Like, all 5 of them were major milestones for me along my writing journey. And I'm so grateful for that. I would not be writing the King Arthur series that I am writing with as much confidence and hopefully skill that I am if I had not written the OG Robin Hood series and the dystopian series and Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace. I wouldn't be here without each of those steps on the journey. I get that. But also when people say they're buying it or reading it or whatever, I just cringe inside because I'm not proud of the original Robin Hood series. I love it, but I'm not proud of it. So I'm going to spice it up, and then I'm going to leave it be. Whether it meets my standards or not after I spice it up, I'm just gonna let it go. It'll be fine. So anyway, my plan for 2022 is to fix up the OG Robin Hood series so that it is not embarrassing, and so that people can have the, like, origin of Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace without being confused about the Amanda Grace or without me not promoting it because I'm embarrassed by it. If you made it this far through the video, thanks for watching. So, camera shut off right as I was doing a like and subscribe and I'm awesome, ring the notification bell. I literally never ever put that at the end of my videos because I'm too self-conscious and embarrassed by it, but I was doing it this time and my camera died in the middle of it and that was just rude. It is the 1-year anniversary. Oh, whoops. On the bright side, despite the sentimental value of the candle specifically, I do have a sticker from Bethany Altazada that has the exact same thing that was on the candle. And the candle itself was already burned down basically to the bottom. There was some wax in there, but I could not light it because the wick was too small and it would snuff out as soon as I lit it. So the candle was no longer in use anyway, and I can stick this on a different candle. We're fine.